Welcome back to Mission Reloaded Gaming. I am Jack, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about the official discussion that happened on Discord as this thing posts yesterday evening. Let's get to it, shall we? Dun, 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 dun. As we review the official Discord channel in a scrolling typeface like Star Wars, please enjoy the background videos of stuff that Splat the Cat and I have been working on last week. So it all starts off with the Rimmer96 saying stairs. Schema says stairs. Alright, so quite a few questions have piled up. I'll try to answer as I read and possibly give an overview of the over-universe features. Stairs will come probably as LOD blocks, multi-block. LOD also will be a thing. LOD and block design systems in general. System is being overhauled to point where everything is more or less automated, so the bugs are minimized. Also, this means that it'll be a lot easier for players to add their own blocks. Desync seems to affect a lot of astronaut movement for some ships. There's probably one central issue causing this, so fixing that will be a focus in either Universe Update or Beta after. RTS stuff will be improved, but will not go too overboard. While you can manage individual fleets, the main game mechanics of the Universe Update itself will go more in the direction of grand strategy, but also requiring personal involvement at points. So Duke of Realms answers a question. How the heck are we going to get through all these pre-written questions while also contributing to live discussion? We can make a post about the ones we answered here and the ones we missed. Woo! Alright, so Schema says hashtag universe. The basic idea of a single player co-op or even general game would be to take over the universe. Gameplay would be in a way split into multiple phases depending on a player's progression. Basically, it will be a variation of survival. You do start with very few resources, so it can only be considered survival in the first few phases. After that, the player can use their accumulated assets to replace the survival work, being able to use fleets to mine, etc., and getting passive resources. More schema. Universe hashtag. The galaxy will be flattened. It will be a fully three-dimensional, but the points of interest in the universe will be somewhat on the same plane. Think of Stellaris galaxy map somewhat. The galaxy will be divided up into regions with different types, stars, nebulas, black holes, empty gases, giants, etc. It would be a main feature and several other things in the locale like planets and moons, asteroid fields, etc. Everything will be fairly distinct. So there's a clear structure to things you can see on a map overview, kind of like Fallout 3 map, although more randomized. Distances in space will be plenty, but the points of interest where players would be gathering around and fighting over would be limited. Regions also include environment effects, different resource sets. Some are inhabitable, some uninhabitable. Sectors would be hidden in regions that have somewhat organic shapes, not square or rectangle. Region borders are fixed at universe creation. Moving on. Schema. Basically, it will make it possible to have a clear top-down view of the whole galaxy, but things might still be a little different on the Y-plane. However, stuff will not be layered on top of each other. Yes, moons will be a thing! Sweet! So, possibly rings, but depends on how viable it is for gas giants. More universe hashtag. Basically, players will gain territory and establish their presence. This will either all be done and with new resource population, or population itself is rather abstract and can be used in several ways. It can be obtained from a central point, probably trading guild in small quantities. The player will have to designate living areas and possibly other areas with restrictions. Must be at least 2 blocks high. That makes sense. Based on these areas, a station can fit a number of population. An AI system would visualize them, spawning people walking around in those areas. Ooh! They would also like being NPCs, possibly spawn outposts and fly around with ships. Same system could be used for player ship crews too. For the sake of simplicity, players can build one main station per system, and as many other side ones that possibly act as support. They would also essentially power your passive income. So you would go from manual mining to fleet mining to passive mining, essentially. Okay, so faction points would probably interact, but still be used for PvP. Instead of needing faction points, well, you need so many population in a system to claim it, or so many population in a home base to keep it protected. Either that, or putting your own population in the region without fighting, so you can just take it over by dumping a bunch of people there. That's actually kind of a cool idea. What I'm tending to right now would be probably a hope station protection for the main station, which would go away when several blows were dealt to other assets in that region. So basically a lot like what they do with EVE Online. Fighting over a region would be involving population too. There would be a mechanic to make it hard to attack main stations, possibly having to take out other points too, but there would also be a mechanic to peacefully take control by ferrying your own population into a region, only possibly over time, not all at once. A region would also have different features, from pirate threat to NPC presence to alien life. Some planets may be populated by native people, and the other player could either convert them to their own people or exterminate them. Ooh. Depending on population, there could be several things improving station defense, mainly spawning military incoming to aid. Also, some special items could be used for stations, but more on that later. This will be all in the universe update. It is very much a core of it, in fact. Alright. So the NPC are the core of the update? That is part of it. NPCs are part of the core, I would say. Since it's essential to population, I don't want it to be purely abstract. Does that mean that we'll see chairs for crew player control here as well? Since it's essential to gameplay now, yes. Population on ships could definitely be for improving that ship, but I'm not yet too sure on those specifics, since it would be an effect balance. So population would be like any other 4X almost. You would put a population into defense, and that would make them spawn ships. Okay. So a bit like a colony's survival. This system is built to last a few weeks up to a certain point until the end game is reached. There will be several options for the super late game, like apocalyptic threats attacking, but I'm leaning towards a resets with the global leaderboards, and players of course keeping their blueprints and maybe gaining items/blueprint slots for doing most of the best in the galaxy lifetime. Of course, you're also free to play endlessly in the same universe without any reset, but for me, the build-up from nothing to Empire is what I like to play most. Okay. He's not much into the whole perpetual idea. Well, I mean, I hope there will be some modding will allow that. So let's see here. When do you happen to have a rough estimate on when we would like to have the universe update released? I'm aiming for a rough dev build by the end of the year, so hopefully around November, December. Crosses fingers. Lots of crossing of fingers. In early stages, the player would have a lot of involvement in all the dirty work, like while not necessary, a player can keep doing it at any point in the later game. Later stages involve a lot of decision making and resource management. However, there are several ways to play this. You could also go full military with a lot less management and just take over by force. The end goal would be gradually to take over the bigger and stronger regions as you expand your own territory. Planets will be viable for resources and population. Depending on the planet, they would be incredible for population generation, and also they will probably have some resources you can't find in space. Oh god, planet mining. All those things are planned, and a lot it still is, but it's just very hard to get cohesion on it yet. Graphics updates are still planned. Sound engine when? Ooh. Audio system is currently in the works. Yes! Alright, more #universe. No plans for a lot of personal gear at the moment, but it may come after the universe update. Progression would be in a form of acquiring special items that would be applied to ships and stations. They would have some kind of reassurance to not lose them. Basically, you would put an item on your ship, but you would get it back if the ship gets destroyed or lost. Items could be acquired by going beyond the galaxy border into the void. The further you go, the more dangerous, but the more valuable the loot might be. There might also be events spawning in the void for those items. Some items would also require you to reach a certain milestone in terms of controlling the galaxy. For a faction, these requirements would count for every member, but you'd still have to do some kind of mission/raid in the void to get the item. Mining will be changed in that more options for mining will be added. There will be mining that involve building collection facilities on planets. There will also be more active form of mining which would involve building a ship with collectors and flying through certain areas of the galaxy. In the universe update, there will also be an invading force other than the NPC factions. This force comes from the outside the known universe. You will also be able to go into their space to complete hard survival tasks to get certain items. Items could go from resource bonuses for stations / mining ship upgrades to extra reactor capacity. Community-driven efforts to provide a modding experience are certainly possible. We do want to make those efforts as viable as possible. However, obfuscation does have a legitimate reason. I'm assuming they don't want to lose all their data, like primarily to protect code base, see, and outright theft by other individuals and companies. So, schema. Most Galaxy AI will be peaceful as long as you don't attack them. Aggressive AI will come from outside, which makes a lot easier to handle. Mods will have full control over API and will be allowed to mod as they see fit. The ULA is already a part of the engine in a way and could be one of the options for modding. ULA will likely be used as an AI NPC behavior. Mods could either be used as an extension to the universe, adding events, etc., or fully transform the game as they see fit. I think the most dead ends in programming happened in graphics optimizations and chunk / bandwidth management. For example, I did the whole algorithm like compressed octrees to realize that the regular compression that is just as small, if not smaller. The whole cubitum system was kind of a bust, if anyone remembers that. Advertisement will start in the universe update as soon as it's in a stable state, playable in the sense of not too many bugs to not scare people away. Woo, okay. Looks like we got some work to do then for getting more people to play this game. Fleet mechanics will be improved. I can't say yet how exactly it'll work, but there are a lot of issues I would like to straighten out. Changes along the universe update will be likely in their own updates, but being able to skip the brush up and combine with current game steps saves a lot of time, since that can be combined into one step. Profitability of Starmade. The game will still be finished under any circumstance. In worst case, the only thing that would change is that it would take longer because more time would have to be dedicated to side projects to provide the income. However, Starmade will not be abandoned. The plan is to work with Quickfire for a new vanilla balance. Really? Quickfire. I'll have to look into more of that. I think worrying too much about small things in balance and preventing abuse impeded progress the most. That's why the rule system now exists. Chairs are planned, and with that, the sharing control of the ship. Any questions about bugs? Generally, I try to fix all the bugs, but some of them are incredibly hard to pinpoint due to them being very hard to produce or reproduce. Like that shield bug. I always welcome any information or setup that can reproduce a bug, because from there, it's definitely fixable. In the universe update, will there be fauna beyond AI factions, such as wildlife on planets? I'm not too sure about fauna yet. It would be very nice to have, but probably not. Too much of a focus. However, alien species that would essentially be somewhat animals is possible. Space whale and other things will be a region thing. We're getting the space whale. Let's see here, which you might not have to deal with at first if you don't want to populate the region. Oh, so you don't even have to worry about the space whale if you didn't want to go there. Alright. Confirmed. We will have space whales. Space whales! So there's a lot of people who have questions, and I'm just letting it scroll. I'm not going to read everything because it's not all answered. Alright, so some of the regions you may be going to on planets and or space will be toxic. So you could survive there without special equipment. Oh, so you couldn't survive there without special equipment. So you may have to actually get gear or items, etc., etc. The earned items will be possible to put into a ship either as a block or as an item for slots. Oh, interesting. Fuel. No plans on fuel at the moment. However, I could make a system so fuel could be moddable. Oh no. Oh, bye-bye small ships. Bye-bye big ships. Bye-bye ships in general. Lots of wasted ships in space. Alright, with decorations and LOD being revamped, adding more and fixing issues will be much easier. Sweet. AI will likely start in control of further regions with different strength tiers. RE community servers. There are no plans for such a thing other than the existing test server. However, that could certainly change based on community interest in how the game develops. Balance is going to be overhauled, working with Quickfire. That makes me happy. And yes, in-game assets will definitely be a community-driven, especially replacing the default ships and stations. Testing with Quickfire config would be a start, with up-to-date blueprints. Oh, yes, more blueprints. Modesty and humbleness aside, what is the best way as Wii players that can help you with this game to beta faster? Feedback, testing, suggestions, community-driven projects like Quickfire, Starmade JS, and Distort SM. It really depends on the balance, though. Alternate, I think, 1 km length would be a very big class. I don't mind bigger. Ideally, the balance would reflect big ships not being too big to impact server performance. Also, I do my best to optimize. Something about possible re-adding of old effects. I mean, any effects would be good. Now, I asked the question, and it didn't get answered, but that's alright. It's here as a player and a storyteller who likes to make movies. Can we get some sort of cinematic camera setup? But that's alright. The schema answered someone else. I kind of want a combat system that would enable tractor on piloted ships. Possibly some kind of disable on ships. Yeah, like a disruptor or a Weber or, warp scrambler. We already have warp scrambler, but something that would slow them down. The webifying intensifies. Duke of Realms, quoting someone, I remember hearing about Danke mention taking audio samples at one point. Is there already a library of sounds that you would have to apply to the universe update? Do we have existing sounds that we would acquire from a soundtrack many years ago? Those are likely samples he was talking about. We've had sounds, we've just not had a system to input them into. With audio engines, those existing sounds can be incorporated into the game, along with others. Ooh, I mean, I can put my own Star Wars sounds in here? Frickin' yes! I think even just the addition of sound effects with a few tracks that can play in the background as music would add a lot of atmosphere to this game. It would. I want good balance first to help with quickfire, and then possibly work with them to add more elements to it. Hard to say, though, how soon. Basically, it'll have to open up the chest of the heart of the game and operate. As long as that is open, I can't really show anything. Yeah, you don't want to give that away. Duke of Realms. The goal with the audio engine is to provide a system where people can make their own soundtracks as well. Awesome. With their own sounds incorporating existing music and sound effects into the game. Oh, okay. Lots of Babylon 5 music now. I'm going to be putting in everything. Let's see. As a member of the QF, I officially advocate for tractor stuff working on player ships. Thank you. Schema says thank you. Comrade, I don't know if he's going to answer this, but a lot of people clicked on it. Out of curiosity, have there been any developments by other scub voxel games like Space Engineers or Empyreon that would have led to you to believe that features of Starmade are being replicated or outright copied elsewhere? A lot of games use the same mechanics. I don't expect any malice from it. In the end, they will all be vastly different games in their own right. Good for you, Schema. That's a good answer. Very political answer. He liked Apex, but Fortnite can't play for some... He can't play it, for example, ironically enough, he hates the building in that game. Alright, so someone asked about map generation. I think the map will be generated from script, and that script would be randomly generated, so you could choose to make your own script, and or build an editor that would go on top of it. A prefab map maker would be very interesting. Oh, it would. Oh, it would. Especially when it matters to actually have a generated map. Alright, so Duke of Realms. To which point server owners will be able to modify the game without requiring mods, aka plugins, like Atom custom blocks and new warp gate that can jump far away or laser resisting armor. Make a background story event like the BSOG War, or random events custom quests. For server-side only mods or plugins, check out Benevolent27 Starmade JS. Benevolent27, there you are again. Yeah, we played on the Dark and Light server. Let's see. Having a rich feature set out of the box, some base features may include banking system for the players and question engines and automated tournaments and more. There will also be existing Starmade wrappers out there as well. We've worked with Bane a bit to bring in features and commands for his wrapper to use. We really encourage projects like this that also provide a massive value to our community. So here's Benevolent27's Starmade JS. Any of you who've actually watched our videos, a lot of our playthroughs, we're working on the Dark and Light server, or the Light and Dark server, or the Dark and Lights. I don't remember what it's that. It's hard to miss. He actually hung out with us a lot, and it was fun. We really enjoyed company. And his server, it was great. Alright, so we are looking at doing more map making. Moving on. A lot of these would be extra add-ons after the update, most likely, once the base game and gameplay loop is finally done. Putting in extra goodies will be a breeze after it's all finished. Yes, I believe it would be. And so we're all looking forward. Everyone's basically asking questions of, will there be little gas giants? Will be these? Will there be stairs? Will be their chairs? Oh, one guy. Can we put in catalog folders for our ships? I can put in catalog folders for ships, yeah. 3 thumbs up. Let's see, gas giants be resource for fuel. Yeah, they'll most likely be for resources. Basically, there will be regions with heavy fog and nebular. Ooh, so we can hide in the Nutaran Nebula, where shields are not effective. Let's see, gas giants will be a step further. Gas giants would be a difficult... Really, honestly, gas giants would be an issue with the game, I think, but who knows. You could fly into them, and they would have setup collectors on your ship to catch particles. Oh, you wouldn't want to go there very long because you probably wouldn't be able to survive, depending on your ship. It's true too. It'd be like flying too close to a freaking sun and just having your ship literally turn into Bakelite fluid. For planets, you would essentially have to build giant structures, probably dishes that would collect fluid passively, or you will mostly be in asteroid mining. Yeah. Interesting. So, I wouldn't mind setting up large pieces of equipment would be cool, and having to defend them. Some planets will have atmosphere you can sustain population really well, basically grow a factor superior than other stations. Population will likely be able to build stations. I'm not too sure on what they would be able to do on planets, but maybe able to put down houses. Planets will be fairly round. Donut planets, such as they can be without messing up other stuff too much. Okay, so yeah, no cube planets, and as fairly round as possible. Those of you who haven't seen some of the things they've tried, they've actually were able to create a round planet, and it was really interesting how they pulled it off. It's actually if you can go look up Starmade planets, you may be able to find the pictures of it. There will be void enemies, so basically we have an extraterrestrial force of the galaxy coming in to mess with people who currently live there. Yes, and pirates are still a thing. That's actually a question I know that will be answered or asked. So they'll still have their place in this universe. And configurable fleet formations. I would love that. Think Reavers from Firefly, kind of, for the Void. Reavers, yes, I know. Ugh, okay. That's kind of scary. Oh, they can be as big as they need without having to give them territory. Because of all that, the Void is their territory. Events will involve stations spawning and attacking with large forces. Fleets will get jump capability. Yes. Ooh yeah! Fleet-capable jump ships. Or jump-capable fleet ships. You cannot conquer the Void. You can only eliminate sources of threats in the Void. Although there will always be a rest risk. Will isolated pirate bases not be associated with NPC factions still exist? Yes, they will. They'll always be there. There's always a reason for pirates to exist. Alright, I think 1 hour is enough. We can conclude the first session just so that I don't get burned out, so we can do it again next month. I'll still answer some stray questions I may have missed. If you guys have any questions you would like me to ask, just hit me up in the comments below, and I will gladly throw them over here in the Discord channel for them to answer. Duke of Realms. Do you have any plans on how to bring more players to populate servers, and if so, how do you plan to do that? There are a number of ways we can achieve this. However, the main requirement before we do such a thing is that we actually have a game that people will enjoy, and there's enough content to sustain a player population. We know through reviews and community feedback that we're not there yet, and we're going to be there, and we're not going to be there for some time without some major additions that have been made, probably changes too. When we get to that point, where we'll feature the complete, and we're getting feedback from new and old players that these changes and additions have made a playable and enjoyable experience, then we can start focusing on advertising. We might need to do a small, short promotional run to boost popularity to know that, because obviously we need people to play the game to know if that's the case. If we're confident, then we can begin the beta phase. We want beta to be a very different game, and to reflect the big change. We're certainly start rebranding, bringing out new promotional graphics, trailers, and advertisements, etc. We have 6 Steam visibility rounds, which propel us to the front page, and I think some other areas as well. This is basically a big advertisement on Steam itself, and does generate a decent amount of views to our Steam store page. Steam store exposure brings in a bunch of customers, provided we can manage to interest customers with a new trailer, screenshots, and game descriptions, etc. The Steam visibility round are free. We'd obviously need to invest in rebranding assets, such as promotional artwork and trailers. We will have the traditional advertising routes to take as well. There are advertising agencies out there who have reached out to us when we first released on Steam EA. Those would primarily consist of site takeovers on gaming news, review, and whatever sites. There's an internet ads as well, and social media platforms we can also target. Okay, so schema also goes back to the universe. By flat, imagine the flatness of the Stellaris map, and he posts a picture of it. Essentially, it's not completely flat, but for territory it's going to be where you could look straight down at it and it'd be nice. So, you can still go up and down as you like, but there is mostly void. Also, if you are in the void at any time, you will become a target. That makes me happy to hear. The longer you stay, the more likely and more harsh you will be attacked. We try to balance together with quickfire. That'll be very nice to hear. Yes, regions would not overlap vertically. Okay, so that's another reason that they're kind of flattening it up a bit. But I'll take better gameplay overlooks any day. Due to the graphics of the game, obviously makes sense. And so far, if someone starts making different skins for this, the game would look different, like Minecraft. But honestly, I like the way it looks. So you won't automatically die when you go out into the void, but the stronger you get and the longer you stay out there, the harder the enemies will get. Let's see, we've also had official game publishers reach out to us, large and small. We've had discussions with them, but we felt that we didn't want to sacrifice the freedom we have with publishing it ourselves. Plus, Steam EA program has done us a nice job funding us. The longer you stay out in the void, the better their loot is. There will be NPC factions, yes, and traditional pirates that are nested in the regions as well as void enemies. Will there be multiple galaxies or just one? There will be one main galaxy. There might be others out there, but they would not be of any inherent importance. Maybe for an extension of gameplay. But mostly I like to overcome the weakness of procedural generation. Yes, which is big, but all is the same. Duke of Realms also says, question, will there be a future community contest, and if so, will they be held in a way that makes a turn of events like the one in the fleet contest impossible to happen? This seems more important since the contest subsection of the SMD seems to have disappeared. Yep, we'll have more contests. I removed the competition section on the SMD because it's not active. Only very few threads, and I wanted to condense the forum sections to be more readable. Competitions can go in the community news or shine section. If there is a big desire, we can bring the section back. So, as it's been asked again, Schema, is there an ETA for the first Universe Update dev build? And it's already been answered, and it is December or end of the year. So, Schema's about to die of needing to eat, so he is ending the dev conversation. He thanks us all for coming. We thank him for being here. If you want an overview of the universe stuff, please put a hashtag universe in the search bar, and we can just read all this to the universe stuff. I marked all relevant posts with the hashtag universe, and that is it for that, gentlemen. If you want to have any questions, hit me up in the comments below, and I will see what I can do for you. And until next time, this is Jack B. Flippin'. Fly reckless.